Is blindness a barrier? No.
Is deafness a barrier? No.
Are mobility, learning, cognitive disabilities, speech impairments and others, or even a combination of them, barriers? No way. Lack of accessibility is.
Welcome to Web Accessibility for All.
Follow the blind. This journey starts now.
Hey my friend, welcome back to Web Accessibility for All. I am Ariel, your host, and today we are exploring a little known but super important topic: accessibility statements. What are they? Why should you care? And should you stick one on your site, or is it just more work for you? Let's dive into it.
Part 1. What are accessibility statements?
So let's start with the basics. What is an accessibility statement? Think of it as the user guide to your site's accessibility features. It's a public declaration of your commitment to making your website usable by everyone, including people with disabilities. An accessibility statement should outline your compliance with accessibility standards, note any limitations, and offer a way for users to contact you if they encounter issues. You know those About Us pages that no one reads? Well, accessibility statements are kinda like that. But much more important, it's not just fluff. It tells users what they can expect when navigating your site.
Part 2. What are they for?
So why have one? Well, it serves two key purposes. First, it tells your users that you are serious about accessibility. You're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk. But it builds trust, especially with people who rely on accessibility features like screen readers or keyboard navigation. And second, it can protect you legally.
Does an accessibility statement magically prevent lawsuits?
Now, let me stop you right there. The answer to the question is no.
Bruh.
But it does show you are aware of potential accessibility issues and that you are taking steps to address them. Let me give you an example. Back in 2017, a grocery store chain in the US got sued because their website wasn't accessible for a blind user who relied on a screen reader. They didn't have any accessibility statement, or really much accessibility at all, and the court ruled against them. That's a real wake-up call to companies who think accessibility doesn't apply to them.
Part 3. Why should or should not you have one?
Now, should everyone have an accessibility statement? Let's talk about when it makes sense and when it might not. If your website serves the public, especially if you are selling goods or services like a book retailer, having an accessibility statement is a great idea. Private businesses aren't legally required to have one under most laws, at least not yet. But if you are running, for instance, an e-commerce site, I strongly recommend it. Why? Because it helps to build trust with your customers and protects you from potential legal headaches down the line. It's worth note that sometimes, especially if you are running a website for a government or a public organization in countries like those in the European Union, you might need to write a statement explaining how your website is accessible to everyone, including people with disabilities.
But Ariel, what if I run a smaller site, like a private book-selling business?
Good point. If you run a private site or a small business, you might not have to put one up. But should you? In my personal opinion, absolutely. Whether if you are a big name in the industry or a mom and pop bookstore, your customers deserve an accessible experience, and a well-written statement shows that you care about inclusivity. Plus, if you've already done some work to make your site more accessible, why not shout it from the rooftops?
Part 4. What about placement?
Okay, let's get practical. You've decided to create an accessibility statement. Where do you put it? Should it be a standalone page, a modal, or maybe an overlay? Well, the best practice is to dedicate an entire page to it. That way, it's easy to find, easy to read, and can be linked to from other parts of your site, like the footer. You want to make sure it's discoverable by everyone.
But wouldn't a modal or an overlay be more convenient?
Maybe for some things, but not for your accessibility statement. Modals can create a tricky situation, especially for screen reader users or people navigating with a keyboard. They can easily cause confusion or become an accessibility barrier in themselves. Just imagine trying to get out of an overlay trap with no close button. You definitely don't want to cause more problems with your solution. So, best bet, stick with a good old-fashioned page.
Part 5. Way and accessibility patterns.
Now let's talk patterns. The Web Accessibility Initiative has some great guidelines for writing accessibility statements. Actually, it includes a generation tool for creating well-constructed ones. Please refer to this episode's description to see the link to this tool. They recommend being clear, honest, and concise. Don't just say,
We comply with WCAG 2.1 AA.
that's important, sure, but users want to know the how and why. For example, say something like,
We have added keyboard navigation to ensure all features are usable without a mouse. However, we're currently working on improving color contrast in some areas and welcome feedback from our users.
it's all about transparency. By following way patterns, you build trust and you are less likely to face legal trouble if someone encounters an issue.
Part 6. Let's create an accessibility statement from scratch.
All right, let's get down to business. How do you actually write an accessibility statement? Here is a step-by-step guide.
Introduction.
Your introduction should clearly state your commitment to accessibility. Something like,
We are committed to ensuring digital accessibility for all users, regardless of ability.
make this section easy to read. It's not just about compliance. It's about creating an open, welcoming tone that communicates a genuine commitment. According to the WAY guidelines, the statement should include a simple description of the organization's approach to accessibility and how it benefits the users.
Compliance standards.
Mention the specific standards you aim to meet. Most companies follow the WCAG 2.1 Level AA, which covers a broad range of accessibility issues.
Accessibility features.
Highlight the accessibility features of your site. like alt text for images, keyword-friendly navigation, or area rules. Way suggests breaking down this section into practical features so users know what to expect. Be specific and include every effort you've made. For example, you can add details like
We have ensured that the contrast ratio between text and background is at least 4.5:1.
Limitations.
be upfront about every known accessibility issues. Maybe some third-party plugins aren't fully accessible yet, or you are still working on adding captions to older videos. Users appreciate honesty. Being open about limitations, as advised by Way, can prevent legal issues and build trust with your users. Even the WCAG doesn't demand perfection. It requires that sites make a reasonable effort to become accessible.
Contact information.
An accessibility contact form is key to allowing users to report issues. Yes, if you prefer to keep it simple, a mail to link is also an option. This is quicker, but keep in mind some users may not have email clients configured on their devices. So if you go with the form approach, here's a simple and accessible one.
Less form ARIA label equals accessibility feedback form greater. Less label for equals name greater your name, less / label greater. Less input type equals text ID equals name equals name required ARIA required equals true greater. Less label for equals email greater your email, less / label greater. Less input type equals email ID equals email name equals email required ARIA required equals true greater. Less label for equals message greater your message, less / label greater. Less text area ID equals message name equals message required ARIA required equals true greater less / text area greater. Less button type equals submit greater send feedback less / button greater. Less / form greater.
Use labels for all form elements, so screen readers can associate the input with the right label. Add area required equals true for required fields, which gives screen reader users clear instructions. Ensure that the form can be navigated using a keyboard, and use appropriate HTML5 elements like type equals email. Adding accessible error messaging can also help users who might make mistakes filling out forms. Make sure that the error message is tied to the form element with role equals alert, so screen readers announce it. Use JavaScript to display the error message only when necessary and ensure it's detectable by assistive technologies.
Ongoing commitment.
According to the Web Accessibility Guidelines, accessibility should be continually updated as the web evolves. This reassures users that you are keeping up with best practices.
That sounds like a lot of work, Ariel. Can I just copy-paste one from another site?
The classic copy and paste solution. Sorry, my friend, but no. Accessibility statements need to be customized to reflect the actual state of your site. If you just throw in some generic wording, it's pretty obvious, and users will see right through it.
Part 7. Do's and don'ts.
Now let's hit the do's and don'ts of accessibility statements. Do it easy to find. Like I said earlier, putting it in the footer or main navigation. Don't overpromise. You're asking for trouble if you say your site is fully accessible when it's not. Do be specific. Highlight what your users can expect in terms of accessible features. Also consider mention technical prerequisites, such as supported web browsers, desktop or mobile. Don't make it overly technical. Most people reading your accessibility statement won't be engineers or developers. Keep it user-friendly. Do update it regularly. As your site evolves, your statement should reflect the current state of accessibility.
Part 8. Legal consequences without one.
Let me throw another real-life case at you. Beyoncé's website back in 2019. Yes, the Beyoncé. A visually impaired user filed a lawsuit because the site wasn't accessible and it didn't have an accessibility statement. Now, I know, not everyone is like Beyoncé, but this case shows that anyone can face legal trouble when accessibility is neglected. Keep in mind that sometimes, depending on where you are, you might have to include specific information in your accessibility statement. For instance, if you are in the European Union, there are special rules about what you need to say in your statement to comply with their web accessibility laws. So there's everything you need to know about accessibility statements, my friend. We've covered what they are, why they matter, how to write one, and even a few cautionary tales along the way. As always, thanks for tuning into Web Accessibility for All. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Until next time, remember, accessibility is not a privilege, it's a right. Whether you are a developer, a designer, or a site owner, keep making the web a better place for everyone. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us today. Subscribe for a new challenge next week. And don't be shy. Leave us a review or ask your accessibility questions online. See you next week for another episode of Web Accessibility for All.